Hello, welcome to the Unapologetically Gray channel. I am Traci Byerly and I am unapologetically gray. I help women and men to create a confident, prosperous attitude about growing older so they can master the art of aging unapologetically. Today's topic is going to be a little bit different than what I normally speak on. However, if you pay attention to any of the videos that my husband and I and our special guests have done, you'll notice that bottom line, everything that we do has a theme of preparedness. This one is no different. This one is going to be no frills, other than topics. I want you to concentrate on the message today. As a matter of fact, what I would love for you to do is pause, go get something to take notes with. I'll wait. Anyway, take notes, stop it, rewind it, do whatever you have to do to take some notes. And also, I'm going to encourage you to share, because if there's some things that you know to do better, sharing is caring. Drop it in the comments, please. The reason why I am doing this type of video is because I don't want my community to have their heads in the sand. Seriously. With natural disasters happening here recently, political climate, you never know what might happen to transportation, which could affect food, things affecting water, economics. Y'all, we have to be prepared. Therefore, what I'm going to do is just go through almost rapid fire, but slow enough for you to take notes, the things that we feel that our community should think about and begin to prepare for during these times. First and foremost, with all of the bird flu, inflation, what have you, it would be a good time to start stocking up on food. How much? I would say start with a very minimum of 3 weeks and then build up. What goes into your food storage? You want to think about shelf-sustainable things like canned goods, dry beans, rice, lentils, things to make stuff out of scratch like flour, sugar, baking soda, salt, seasonings. It wouldn't be a bad idea to learn how to do all of that good old-fashioned canning and preservings. I am going to venture learning how to do full meals in a jar, like chicken and beef stew and things like that. But you can also buy it canned too. You'll want to switch it out every now and then, but to have all of those things on deck, just because for whatever reason. You can also do like canned fruits as well too. The next thing that you want to think about is water, storage, and uses. Think about this. If a horrific storm comes through and shuts down your water plant, you can't use plumbing or anything like that. What do? The obvious thing is go ahead, start stacking up on water bottles. Get the water jugs. You can use that to clean things, clean yourself. Also, another serious thing to consider is a portable water filter system. I've heard things like Sawyer Mini, Berkey, and again, I'm mentioning these names. This is nothing promotional. I'm not getting paid for mentioning these names. These are just things that I'm familiar with. But do your research on those things to see what fits best for you and your family. You want to think about something that you can keep a gallon of water per person per day. Don't forget your pets. And while speaking on the whole sanitation thing, if you can't flush a toilet, you can't wash your hands, the whole sanitation issue, making makeshift putties. And I understand that you can do that from the 5-gallon buckets and put a toilet seat lid on it, but there's a certain way that you have to do all of that. I've heard something about wood pine pellets or something like that to absorb the poo. And again, I'm encouraging research, learning how to dispose of all of that properly. Plus, you need a hand washing station. Or even you can take a duck bath, if you will. Those are things that we need to consider if a water plant is knocked out, which here in Texas, we have experienced that, especially with the snowmageddon. The next important thing would be your bug out bags. That's going to be a huge backpack or something where you can transport all of your important documents, social security cards, passports. As a matter of fact, it would not be a bad idea to even make copies of those things just in case. Any immunization records for families, your wills, your trust, if you have a lease to your apartment, or if you have your mortgage deed or paperwork for your home, take that with you. Don't forget info on your pets, your prescriptions, food to sustain you for however long you may have to check out, any rain gear or appropriate gear for whatever the weather is doing at that time, extra keys, solar products to be able to charge, like your phone and other equipment that you may have to take with you. As our hurricane people found out, all of your important paperwork, put it in a Ziploc bag. Make sure it is sealed tight. Put your stuff in a safe. And if you have a lot of stuff in addition to your backpack, maybe a small tote of some sort where you can put some of those things in the tote to take with you. Again, if you have other things that you can think of that will help the community, please drop it in the comments. The next thing I would want you to consider, small bills, cash. As we found out a couple of months ago, my husband came in and he woke me up and he was like, I tried to withdraw some money from the bank and I couldn't get cash from the bank. Therefore, getting that safe and keeping it in a safe place, I recommend that you get small bills. Why small bills? Because you may present a large bill and someone may say, sorry, I can't break it. Many 5s and 1s, and even some coins if you want to. Stick with the dollar bills, is much easier to keep up with, and a few 10s just in case. But get your small bills, put them in a secure place. The next thing I would invite you to think about are ideas for cooking. What happens if your electricity goes out? Do you have recipes that don't require refrigeration or heat? Do you have a fireplace with the appropriate cookware to cook in your fireplace? As we found out during the snowmageddon, we have that now. Do you have a grill that you might be able to cook from? Or if you're real resourceful and you know how to do a ground fire pit or something that's not going to cause any further danger to anyone else, don't forget a can opener, a manual one, and think of things that you can use that will not require electricity. Another thing that I discovered, I'm probably the last one to know. Anyway, this thing is called a trivet. And it's like a cast iron, like this pretty little grate, like something. And what you do is you put tea lights up under it. You can warm up your food, and depending on how many tea lights you have up under it, you might be able to cook something. Look into that in the event you live in an apartment with no fireplace and no grill. That might help you with warming up your food. The next thing are communications with family, friends, and loved ones. I would have you to consider having a place where family can meet up, but if everybody cannot meet up, perhaps having a coordinator. And I'm so thankful for my niece who is coordinating this for our families. But you have the name, address, and telephone number to the places where you're going to meet up so that when the dust settles, everybody can be in communication with one another. And it also does not hurt to say with this list, okay, if this happens, I'm going to shelter at home. But if I can't shelter at home, then I'm going here. And if I can't stay in the city, this is the state I'm going to. Here are the names, telephone numbers, and addresses to where I'm going, if it's not at home, of course. I also want to give this caveat. Make sure that you have your food preps in place if you have to go shelter in with someone else, because it would be so rude for you to show up and you don't have your own food. If you are listening to this message right now, you have no excuse. Bring your food and your water so that you are not a burden on the people that you're going to go stay with, because most likely they've either prepared for themselves or they're stuck out. Either way it goes, you're going to their place, take some food. Anyway, I've heard some things about walkie-talkies. I'm going to do my own research on that. And crank radios, those will be crucial to have so that you can know what's going on, especially if it's a national or weather event. The next thing is your first aid kits. Have your first aid kits and brush up on those. Make sure that you have your medications, your skincare, tourniquets, gauzes, anything. If you can think of what may happen, worst case in an accident, are we prepared? Let me get my first aid kit together. After that, comfort gear. And what I mean by comfort gear is dressing for the weather. Do you have the right things like fans that operate on solar in the event there's no electricity and no way to charge up a fan or anything like that? Frozen water bottles kept in the freezer will help you out for at least the first 12 to 24 hours, depending on how hot things are. Rain gear, again, gloves, sleeping bags, things that will keep you warm. And we've heard about maybe if there's another snowmageddon, putting a tent in your house, especially if you have more than one person, so that everybody can sleep together and that tent causes some insulation and a little bit more warmth. Again, things to think about. Food preservation. Now, this is where it gets real interesting. Remember those frozen water bottles that I talked about in your freezer? That might be able to help cool your things off as well as yourself. Generators. Nobody ever thinks about generators, but you're probably going to need one, maybe two, depending on your lifestyle, how big your house is. If you have a huge house, of course, you're not going to be able to cart around a gas or propane filled generator. However, there are smaller generators that are portable. I want you to think about this in the event you have to be on the go and still go somewhere where there is no electricity. A smaller portable generator may be perfect for you. Consider this. Safety equipment. I'm talking things like fire extinguishers, It's the carbon monoxide detectors. There are some people that are like, oh, if my electricity goes out, I'll just turn on my gas. I don't recommend that, not one bit. That is not safe at all. Don't do that. But if you insist on doing that, please make sure that you at least have a carbon monoxide detector, because you're definitely going to need that. Also, nobody ever thinks about this, but all the rumors of war and all these things going, you want to purchase lots of painter's drop cloths. And that's basically that thick plastic that's laid on the floor. Purchase that and some duct tape, because you are going to need that to tape off all of your windows, doors, vents, fireplaces, anywhere where air can come in your house. And then for people that are coming in, lots of trash bags so that their clothes can be put in there to protect you from the radiation fallout. Again, we don't think about this stuff, but hey, I'm telling you for a reason. Next, your cars. I used to be one of them people that would ride around on fumes and Jesus. But I live in a big city, so that kind of cut all of that. But suffice to say, if the weather turns really bad and you have to evacuate and you're not filled up and you need to go to the gas station, well, guess what? Everybody else is going to have the same idea as you. And that's not to say if they're dogging the gas pumps like our hurricane people know, and the gas runs out. If at all possible, keep your gas tank at least 3/4 full to full. Stay up on your maintenance, because you just never know when you might have to roll out. And the last thing, we're probably going to have to go back to old school. I know I am. What do I mean by this? Any important telephone numbers that you have, write them in an address book. Don't put them on the computer, on a flash drive. Well, you can do that too. But in the event there's no electricity, no internet, how are you going to be able to access your stuff? Get that good old-fashioned address book, write down all of the names, addresses, and telephone numbers to people who are important to you. Any recipes that you love, especially the ones that you're going to need for if there's no electricity, no water, all that good stuff, print them off. While you have lots of ink, electricity, and internet, go ahead and create you a cookbook. Go ahead and create you an emergency preparedness notebook. Go ahead and get all of that stuff together. I think it was Coach John Wooden, who said that when opportunity comes, it's already too late to prepare. And my favorite motto that I've heard nobody else say, but I say it all the time: preparedness creates more freedom. With that being said, when everybody else is running around like a chicken with their head cut off, you have your 3 weeks, 3 months, years worth of food saved up. You have your water things and stuff. You are ready. And that's what I desire for my community, is that you're thinking about it, the seed has been planted, and you are going to work, and you are not caught unaware. Let me see. Oh, another thing. It does not hurt for your important documents like your house, car insurance, utility bills, that you save the first and the last bills, so that if you have to pick up, move somewhere, prove your residency, all that good stuff, you have those documents in hand. So make sure that you pack those as well too. All right. Whew. We got that out. If you love what I was talking about, go ahead, comment, again, share. Please like this, because this helps to boost Unapologetically Gray and get us out there on the map. And share, share, share. Until next time, mwah, smooches.